Welcome to Improvisation as Human Experience. You can improvise. About a year ago, Robert Rabinowitz contacted us and asked us if we'd be interested in doing something for this event. And we said, sure. And we met several times on Zoom, and we talked and had a great time talking. And after a while, we realized that we'd need about 4 hours to do the presentation that we wanted to do.
Here we are. Lock the doors.
So we'll lock the doors, and we're going to just do it now. But I guess we realized that we could take the whole 45 minutes and just introduce ourselves and talk about what improvisation is to us. But we wouldn't get to doing what we wanted to do. So you can read about us in the information sheet. So that's the introductions. I don't have my information in there, so I have some QR codes up here if you want to get them afterwards. But my work with improvisation covers music, dance, and healthcare. And it was kind of a fascinating discussion. Well, we had a lot of interesting discussions, and we realized that we have to do something that's going to bring us into relationship in different ways. So I figured we'll use some images to stimulate ideas. So we're going to be improvising, they're going to be improvising this morning, responding to some images. And we'll see what happens. So I'm treating it like an experiment. Now, it's really an experiment because we've done it once, but 𝑅𝑎𝑏𝑖 wasn't with us, and it was on Zoom, so there's always a delay. So this is really the first time that we're doing this, and they've not seen the slides, so I'm up for an experiment. So, do you consider yourself an improviser? Anyone? Yes. Who doesn't? Okay. Well, I would venture to say that we all are improvisers. Think about it. Do you get up every day and do exactly the same thing, following a script? Sometimes we do. We have very tight schedules, and we follow the schedule. But that's a structured improvisation, because we don't know what we're going to do in between those points. Every time we have a conversation, we're improvising. But we're comfortable with it because we have a vocabulary. We can improvise just with sounds. I mean, we do it with animals and babies all the time. And we use the inflections of our voice. We don't think about it. But put the instrument in your hand and say, let's improvise. And we do that. So we're going to have fun with this. And I invite anyone who wants to, especially those who don't consider themselves improvisers. The second experiment that we'll do, you'll be invited to join us in responding to some slides. Okay? So shall we start? So this is sort of what I've said already. Improvisation is about what we're doing right now. Conversation, imagination, solving problems. Working on improvisation fosters paying attention, an awareness of relationships, risk-taking, opening your imagination, moving beyond expectations. Basically, it's communication, listening, observing, responding. And we have the very strong potential and ability to make different choices other than habitual choices. Okay? And this is where it also falls very heavily into how we live from day to day. So, I'm going to start the first musical conversation. Oops, sorry. Getting ahead.
I didn't see anything, no. My eyes are closed.
Close your eyes.
No.
I'm looking.
But
There's a.
just don't tell us, okay? You can still look at it.
Okay,
I'm blind.
here we are. I don't know how that happened. I guess my hand got.
You improvised. It's
I,
okay.
my hand did it. I
You
wasn't.
said it, right?
Okay. You ready? You can start with this one. about it yet. You've done this, and you've heard what you've done, you've thought about things as you're doing it. We can do it again. And then we'll talk. Okay? Take two. let's talk about it. Anything you want to say, or any questions you have?
Where'd you find the images? That's what I'm. Some of those are pretty sick.
I've been collecting images for a long time, but I haven't categorized in my folders. What was your experience?
You might ask why we played what we did, and
Why did you play what
I
you
would
did?
ask maybe what anyone heard that was different between the two. If anyone wants to comment on that.
The stop sign, because the first time everyone stopped.
Right.
This time it was like waiting at a four-way stop. You're like, that's what I got out of it. You're all waiting, like eager to go on, and no one stopped.
That was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Not only did it not stop, it built.
Yeah, that was sort of,
Yes.
sort of like, stop the madness. Stop. Stop.
So, what I sort of did was the first time I focused on the more image itself, so the visual image. So I use it as an inspiration. So when you see stop sign, we literally stop. We hold the note. And when you see the wave, and then we sort of made it some wavy kind of sound. And second time, I knew what was coming, so I focused on more about not the image, about feeling, of each image has something behind the actual image. So when you see stop, and you could breathe yourself and stop, but what if you stop your ego or something holding back, and you sort of start letting out yourself more? So I had that kind of image. So I decided not to stop. Instead, just let it out and stop thinking too much and see what's gonna come up. So I don't know if it went well or bad, but that's sort of what I did for the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to know what percentage of your playing was based on listening to everybody else versus just looking at each and responding.
That's the question we were hoping for.
Yeah.
So
Conversation. Yeah.
yeah, I think first round, I think we sort of started figuring out, our rules in the band. So, I think middle of the first round, we started sort of dividing the orchestra in two. So I and Robert was sort of working as a team, and we had a team B over there. So they were, physically being close, so listening more each other. So we sometimes sort of play the harmony together, and then those two people started, sort of.
We
doing harmony
didn't
together.
plan to stand this way
Yeah.
either. We
Yeah.
had no idea how we were going to set up, so
Yeah.
even that was an improv.
So I think the first time we were, more sort of listening and then hearing each other. And I feel like second time we sort of, I think we focus on the visual images more than listening each other. That's the impression I, had. Yeah.
So if you're playing a musical piece, for a recital,
Yeah.
and one of you or all of you are improvising, is it the same thing? You're deciding on the spot to listen to somebody else and harmonize, or just take it on your own?
You mean the improvisation in general? I think it depends, if you have a good experience, long experience with your group you're working with, probably you don't have to think about it too much. It's like talking to your friend, close friend. But you know what the rhythm of the conversation will be like, so you don't have to be careful that much. And then focus on their, artistic choice, more than sort of conversational thing. So I think we literally met today, and then so I think the first 30 seconds we are very cautious. Probably you heard of it. We are making very,
Like
less note.
Yeah, like nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah. Who are you? And I don't know your style. What kind of sound do you make? So we sort of.
Well, he said conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard a lot of listening going on. And of course, as she was saying, you're getting a sense of what your roles are. But then also, the two of you are interacting with each other. You want to talk about how you were approaching the conversational aspect of.
So always I listen, of course.
Yeah.
But, I don't think about like a harmony, melody, rhythm. I don't think. Yeah, I just feel and listen, and I always get some ideas from the diction or the musicians or the audiences. Yeah, I just feel. So that's my priority about the improvisation.
Yeah, I was trying to think more about, well, I didn't want to not play, like, sometimes you're afraid to play. Or, if you're joining, like we all started at once, but sometimes like deciding when to enter can be, if you choose feel the right moment where there's space for it, then it's a nice result.
Yeah.
At the same time, I didn't want to play too much. Like in some ways, I felt like, oh, I shouldn't have been playing all the time. So I probably did listen to you the most and tried to not.
Sometimes I didn't listen you. yeah, I was on my way.
And the second time, since I knew what the slides were, I knew, well, we should do something different. So a couple times I tried to be more not the leader, but, put an idea out first, to kind of, again, not to be assertive, but just to put something into the space for everyone.
I did the opposite of Shu. The first time I was focused on the images, but I knew from our practice talks and sessions, and we've had this discussion ourselves, that one of the things I think everyone probably does the first time, and I tried to avoid because I knew it was, you were told to look at the images and play, so you're not necessarily really listening to each other. So I tried to approach it from that, and the second time through I did more listening, and I felt like we did more rhythmic stuff.
Exactly.
The second time I heard you go boom, 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 and I was like trying to, I think we all touched on roles too. As the lowest instrument in the group, I felt it was my role to set a foundation. If I could play high on that too, but if we're all up high, that could be, you're all flute players, most of you don't want to all be playing high all the time, right? So you and I sort of have like a different role maybe than they do, but we could certainly twist that around if we wanted to.
It's interesting because, I teach at ASU, and I work in, I've done a lot in healthcare with the nurses, and this conversation is a conversation that we had in nursing, where you're in a situation and someone gets called away. So it's on your radar to realize that someone's missing, so you got to fill in. Just like if you're performing and the bass player leaves the stage, well, the pianist is then going to fill in with the bass, So it's all improvisation. It's all being aware of what's necessary right now. What has to happen right now? And since now we've done this twice, how do you want to do it this next time? So let's just have a quick discussion, a minute, of what you want to do this time, the last time that you're going to do this. Is there anything you want to do differently? You want to, yes?
No image.
No image, okay.
So we have no images. And maybe we can do like a 3 minutes or something. Yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
How do you all feel about that? You want to just hear us play for a few minutes? Okay.
Yeah. And Rob, please stop. Please say stop. At the last, stop.
I'll at 3 minutes.
Or 2 minutes, yeah.
No, 3 minutes is good. We have 3 minutes until the next thing. At 3 minutes, I'll start walking across the stage. So when I get to the end, it's over.
All right.
I just want to add one thing at this point, and I want to tie it back to the reason we started this all, which is I played with lots of groups over my life, and most of the people I played with are classically trained, because I love composing and arranging, so I write the stuff, and then I say, I want, let's improvise for a bit, and I hear, I don't improvise. And the whole point is everyone can improvise. Improvising doesn't mean jazz, doesn't mean you have to know the chord changes. Like Rod said, it's like a conversation. Pick up your instrument, listen to the other people, and play what you want to play, what feels right to you. That's really.
As Roberta was saying, you don't think, because thinking interferes.
Yes.
I mean, it's true with anything that you do. If you have to, if you're hiking and you're in, like, hopping rocks and there's water here, there's a jump that you have to make. If you think about it, you're gonna fall in. Okay? Just watch animals, watch cats, they jump. They take it all in, and then when it's right time, they go. So when you're improvising, you're basically in that constant ready mode. You're not thinking, you're not interfering, you're just listening, and all of a sudden, you're in. Okay, 3 minutes. Do you have a sense that that was 3 minutes?
Not longer than me.
Yeah, it's always, it's interesting to do this and say, okay, we're gonna do a 2-minute piece. And then you realize like 5 minutes went by. But the more you practice it, doing timed pieces, you get really good at it.
Was that 3 minutes? Or did
That was 3 minutes.
you didn't
I've had the
trick us?
No, I was watching, yeah.
I've had the experience of improvising for an hour and thinking it was 10 minutes. Believe me, the audience probably thought it was 6 hours.
Right.
Usually I do the free improv like 45 minutes, just like once in or 1 hour.
Mm.
Keep playing. Yeah.
And
You don't have an
breathe
hour.
That's
every
re-
now and then.
that, you know, this is very interesting because I felt the 3 minutes and the 45 minutes is like the same.
Yeah.
I felt like the same. I don't know. Yeah, interesting.
So, any thoughts? Observations?
I think it was more interactive without the distraction of the pictures, because 4 people is a lot, let alone 5, to improvise with. I would think, I've never done an improvisation with all these people improvising at one time.
You want to do one?
No. But my point is, usually, at least I usually think of it as 2 people are interacting, or you're trading fours with 10 people, it doesn't matter, but you don't have that many improvising people going on at one time. And having the photos up there was just another complexity that lessened the ability to be complex within themselves.
Yes and no. I mean, I can see how the contrast between doing the 2 with the slides and then doing this one with just responding to each other leaves it really wide open. Responding to something it's often a helpful catalyst, you know? Since we've not done this before, and
It's a good warm-up.
it's actually a good,
You know?
Pictures of the lead sheet.
absolutely. I mean, when I work with dancers, when I'm playing for a ballet class, I have no idea what I'm going to play. I mean, I have certain things in mind, but possibilities, but the dancers are my score, so I'm watching what they're doing, and that is what I'm following. So when a teacher says, oh, just play something, I need you to move so I know what I need to play, you know? So that was kind of my stimulus for thinking of how can I get this group responding to something and also listening to each other.
There was another piece of that too, which is we wanted to give everyone here some thoughts, if you have never improvised before, how you might give yourself the catalyst. I was trying to think of that word, you said it.
Catalyst, yes.
To go home, play with your friends, and if it's scary just to say, let's play, it's like, well, you know, we all have pictures, we all have other ways to stimulate things, you know, I mean, we maybe jumped a little bit ahead with the last thing. I mean, you could all say, let's drone on a D or an E or a G, and then move on to some other notes you know that are in the tonic before you just want to go, let's just play. But the point is, you should all just play.
Well, we have 10 minutes left, a little under 10 minutes. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to join? We can do it from right here. Yes.
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 Let's take the Beethoven Egmont overture.
Oh,
Playing
I
is
know.
the catalyst, right?
Take out your instrument if you want to play.
Yeah.
If you,
We need
1
more.
minute into it, you
We
want to
need
take your
more.
instrument out?
You could ask it from who doesn't want to participate.
Okay, who doesn't want to participate? Take your flute out.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
When I'm improvising and I feel like I go into a sort of flow state where I don't have time to worry about the other worries in my life. And I heard a few of you mention this idea of, I don't know if it's been 3 minutes or 45 minutes. Would you describe that experience as a flow state?
Absolutely.
where time doesn't really seem to,
It gets,
it's
it
hard
just
to-
gets swallowed up.
yeah.
Yeah, it disappears.
I've talked to friends about absolutely that thing, and sometimes if we're stressed or you had a bad day or something, and you get together and you play music, whether you're playing from the score or whatever, you're not thinking about anything else. You're playing the music, everything else goes away, right? It should be like that. You should be that into the music. Whether you're improvising or reading or dancing with a bunch of flutists on a symphony hall.
So let's, since there's, what, 3 of you? Do you want to pick?
How many people?
1, 2, 3, 4, great. Let's, let, 5? Okay, can we,
Yeah.
can we do it this way? I'm not gonna play the slides. We're gonna use a D. We'll just start droning on a D. And then whatever comes out of that D drone comes out of the D drone. Come on up. Wonderful.
Wow.
Excellent.
We are welcome.
You're gonna be on this side or that side?
Yeah, I might just say that you don't want your back to the camera, that's all.
You need a D? Okay, this is the tuning suite.
It looks like I got the low end again.
Okay, so whenever you, let's start from silence and just go, start with the D drum.
Wait for the president.
Are you gonna walk across the stage again? Stop us.
Well, we have to end in 5 minutes, so let's leave 2 minutes for discussion. I'll walk across again. Okay, here we go.
great. Everyone feel better?
We should make a record.
Feel good? Feel something?
It was so interesting to hear how, I mean, it's sort of like watching clouds. You've got lots of clouds in the sky, and then all of a sudden the clouds move, and there's more sky coming through. And you can make sense out of some of the details. And the different relationships that were starting to form were just fascinating. It could have gone on for 45 minutes easily. But when you're doing that and you're really not thinking about anything else, and you're just paying attention to what's happening right now, and you're always in that ready mode, that's when interesting things happen. That's where the possibility is. And that's what's so exciting about improvisation. And then you say, oh, wow, how can I do this with classical music? How do I make those notes on the page come alive in this way? And it's, you know, it just brings a whole new life to it. Because we get into habits. We play the same thing every time. It's like, what if we approach it in a different way? Really listen. So, we're out of time, but if anyone has any other thoughts or anything you want to say, thank you so much for joining.
The other people who put their time into this, as Rob said, I asked and they did, and I still don't know why. Rob I've known since my graduate school days. He came in as a teacher at ASU when I was studying there. He taught me to accompany dance players on piano. I'm not great at it, but I never would have done it at all without his encouragement. Shu and Runa are actually married and live in New York. They're both from Tokyo. You're from Tokyo as well.
Kyoto, actually.
Oh, okay. And they played with a number of jazz groups in New York City, and they both have websites and albums out. And if you want to hear some really good improvisation, look them up. Their links are in the app, you know, with the program there. And 𝑅𝑎𝑏𝑖𝑛𝑜𝑤𝑚, who you may have all seen last night, who is the principal flutist with the Houston Symphony. You may all know her as a wonderful classical player, has been improvising, and well, her dad was a jazz musician. This is not, but your last album was out a little over a year ago, and it's called Voyage of Blackwood, and it's on Bandcamp, and her link is out there too. And Yuki Rob's information there. My link is out there as well. So I want to thank them for, you know, humoring me. Thank you all for playing, and I hope you all go home and just improvise.
Yeah.